winning picks by Papa John's. At least we hope that they're winning picks. Taking a look at ACC ranked games we got coming up this weekend. Syracuse looking to go 6-0 for the first time since 1987. And you got Danny Kanell's Florida State Seminoles hosting number 4 Clemson. The Seminoles a 3.5-point dog at home. Okie dokie. We got number 15, NC State, at number 18, Syracuse. NC State coming off their win against Florida State. Danny, we'll talk about that later. No word, Devin Leary, if he's going to be available for this game. We were talking about it during commercial break. Doesn't really seem like it. Nursing a shoulder injury anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks, or 1 to 6 weeks, I should say here. So Syracuse favored by 3.5, the total 44. Brady, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the side of Syracuse here. I'm laying the 3.5 points. Don't love the hook here just because I don't know that Syracuse has really been tested. They're coming off a bye. It's been obviously a couple of weeks, but Garrett Shrader is one of the better quarterbacks in college football. We haven't given him a ton of love or a ton of time, I think in part because they weren't in the national spotlight. Well, you will be for a matchup like this. Now, obviously, it helps, too, to not have Devin Leary on the other side if you're going to be taking or laying the points here in Syracuse. But the reality is that offense is starting to fall off even when Devin Leary was in the past couple of weeks, especially through the air. Turnovers, less completion percentage, all those sorts of things. So, look, I think Shrader is very capable of going in and being able to take care of business versus NC State. I also think it'd be a little more higher scoring affair. They like to run a little more up-tempo from time to time, too. So I also like the over on this one, Danny.
So I'm with you on Syracuse. NC State, now I watched a lot of that game. Obviously, I was heavily invested as my Florida State Seminoles were playing. And their offense, which had already been kind of limping in there to the finish with Devin Leary healthy, was atrocious in the second half, but they did what it took. They had -5 passing yards in the second half versus Florida State. That's right. Florida State did find a way to blow the 17-3 lead. Despite that, couldn't get off the field, gave them some good field position. But I think their defense is still one that's out there pretty tough. They did a good job shutting down Florida State and holding them scoreless in the second half. So they deserve some credit too. But you're right. Garrett Shrader, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sean Tucker's been toting the rock. He's second in the country in rushing yardage. So they had to actually have a ground attack that's pretty versatile as well. Robert Anae, that offensive coordinator, comes in from Virginia. And if you remember last year, Brennan Armstrong was putting up massive numbers. He deserves a ton of credit too. I think this offense will figure out a way to put up enough points to cover that number. I'm going to say it's under, though, just because NC State doesn't have the ability to put up many points on the board. Last week, they ran their quarterback a ton when he was in the game. So I think they'll try to slow the game down because you're right. Syracuse goes up tempo. They go fast. They put up points. I think they'll struggle somewhat to do that against NC State. But I like the Cuse here and lay the 3.5. I'm just on the other side of the total.
And to your point about Anae, if you look at the way Virginia's offense kind of fallen off this year, they've really struggled without his presence. So it's definitely something. He deserves more credit for what he's done at Syracuse.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.